Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I don't think I've fully gotten the year started until I did some sort of rant on the video game company EA Games. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are familiar with EA Games. They've made games like Apex Legends. What else? The Battlefield series. Well, okay, so let me correct myself. They didn't make it, they just published those games. And look, I don't know whether it's the developers. I feel like that there has to be some sort of say so from EA Games. Like, you don't just have it where you publish that many bad games and then you guys just y'all don't have like no say so. Y'all don't. And what was crazy about it is that when I was a kid, bro, I'm saying EA Games was on top. I mean, they had Madden, they had FIFA, they had the Sims series. I'm trying to think of some other games that EA Games had. They had a lot. And I think when I very first heard about them was, it was through The Sims. And then I remember sometime later, my dad had bought me Madden NFL 07. And then that ended up being like one of my all-time favorite games. I think that was one of the first few games I started posting on YouTube. When I like very, very first got into YouTube, that was like one of the first few games I had posted. So there was that. I'm trying to think what else. And then of course, like when I discovered Battlefield, I was like, bro, what was crazy, so I remember because I originally played Call of Duty. Then at some point in time, I can't remember how I heard about Battlefield, but I remember hearing about it, and I went out and, of course, had my parents because this is back when I was in school. This is back when I didn't have the funds that I have now to go out and supply my video game usage. But anyways, but no, overall, I remember I did get Battlefield Bad Company 2, and it was like a special edition, so it came with like all the DLCs. It came with this like Vietnam DLC. It came with a lot of different stuff, and I'm thinking to myself like, man, EA Games, at one point in time, they had to have been like on top of the pinnacle of gaming. Like, there is no way possible that a company can compete with EA Games. I have seen it one too many times recently, and I'm like, fam, you guys are still trying to hold on to Apex Legends. Don't get me wrong, that game is fun, but it's fun with friends. You cannot play that game by yourself. I remember when I very first got into streaming, and that was one of the first few games I had got into, like or started playing when I started streaming. Realized that it wasn't for me, and I was like, nope, I have to find another game to play. And now they're trying to add different modes like team deathmatch type modes. And then I was just playing it the other day with my friend V. Shout out to V. But anyways, they have like now a bot mode. And I'm thinking to myself like, oh, okay, well, I'll just continue playing the bot mode if I ever want to sit down and play Apex Legends again. Nope, they have it set up where you can get XP throughout that mode. So overall, it's like you're just playing the game just for the fun of it. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys don't sit down and listen to what the audience wants, huh? Like, I mean, even outside of Apex, I think what people really want for that just genre, not even genre, but more so for that series, because it comes from the Titanfall series, for those that did not know. I think people want another Titanfall, but they don't want an EA Titanfall. They want a Titanfall that the gaming community can like Titanfall 2. Titanfall 1, yeah, it was alright. But when Titanfall 2 came out, bro, I played that game and I felt like that I had rushed through it. That was a game that I was heavily into. And then when it got to like the final mission, I'm like, bro, that's it? Like, that's all that you guys got? Like, you gave us like what? It was a 20-minute campaign. I'm like, that was too quick. That was way too quick. I'm like, nah, bro, you guys should have that should have been your guys' like go-to game. Like, we gotta come out with DLCs. We gotta come out with new maps. We gotta, if anything, Apex Legends should have just been added into Titanfall 2. At least then you guys would have had a lot of people playing. I mean, you do still have a lot of people playing Titanfall 2. But I wonder if Titanfall 2 got more. That would be crazy if Titanfall 2 had more players on the Titanfall 2. If they had more players on Steam than Apex. But anyways, Steam player count. Let's just see. Okay, there's that one. And then Apex Legends. So Apex Legends currently got, okay, that's not bad. They got 71,742. That's not bad. Oh, and then it's only 1,000 people in 1,522 in Titanfall 2. But my thing is, and I think the reason why is because you gotta pay for the game and stuff. I think if Titanfall 2 would have been free, oh yeah, people would have been, they have been all over that game. And I think that's why EA didn't really invest in that game too much, because they realized that they released a good game. And I don't know what their issue is. It's like they just refuse to release a good game. Like, for an example, so when I seen the news that they were going to re-release The Sims 2, and that was one of my, I had to say, out of all the Sims games I played, because I did play a little bit of it when I was a kid, but I was mainly playing like other games like Grand Theft Auto, stuff like that. But I remember getting heavily into it, and I remember playing 2. That was without doubt, in my opinion, that was probably the best Sims of all time. So fun, to the point where I had to go out and get that game on the PSP, because they had like, I don't know why they did it that way too, but it was like, it was different on PSP. They had like a different mode or whatever, or like gaming things, but it was fun though. It was something where I'm like, I remember, that's one thing I'm like, it just seems like that you don't beat The Sims. Like, you just play that game and just do whatever. Fam, I beat that game. And I don't even know how I got to that point of beating that game, but I beat that game. That's how fun, that's how a game should be. A game where it's like, you ain't even supposed to beat the game, but you somehow, some way beat the game. You overall get caught up doing other extra stuff, but you somehow, some way, it's like, when you beat that game, it's like, fam, I shouldn't be at this point. But overall though, it's like, but that's how it was with a lot of different like EA games. Like Madden, I never did beat that game. Battlefield Bad Company 2, I beat the campaign, but as far as the other content in the game, yeah, I didn't get to explore all of that content. I did play the Vietnam DLC, and now of course I played multiplayer. But overall, it was like, yeah, it was just, it's one of those games where it's like, the replay value. I wish my fan would stop making this like weird buzzing noise. Hold on for a second. I got it. All right, I'm gonna just let that fall. But yeah, it's like my fan does this like weird buzzing noise, and it annoys me at times. But anyways, nah, man, it's like, games should be fun, and EA, I feel like that they're forgetting that. They want to make more money than have fun, and I'm like, fam, you have to understand who you're releasing this game to. I guess for the newer generation, they don't really know, but all right. And you know what? The thing is this, and I feel like that's what it is. That's what needs to start happening, rather than going after these companies. I feel like that they're not listening to us. They're not listening to people like myself, where it's like, yes, I have been playing video games since I was a kid, but I feel mad uncomfortable when I'm out here paying for a video game, and it's like, you guys ain't even trying to release a video game. You're either trying to release a tech demo, a bugged out glitchy game that halfway don't work, and I'm supposed to, and that's the thing where it's like, I always say that example is like, when you look at other things in this world, like a car, for an example, you can't release a car like how you release a video game. That car got to be fully finished, developed, all that stuff. You can't release an early access car. I'm like, yeah, my thing is this, with some of the games I done played in my life, if that same attitude were to be like, I guess, like pushed on to like cars or houses or food, we're gonna catch food poisoning, houses are gonna fall on top of our heads, and cars is gonna crash off of bridges. So that's that. And my thing is, and what's crazy is that people will try to defend that. They'll try to defend like the new way of gaming. And I'm like, yeah, it definitely has to be people of the newer generation. But no, let's just go and take a little trip down memory lane. Let's go back some years, when I was a kid, when I had a PlayStation 2. I didn't have Wi-Fi. I had single player games on a PlayStation 2. I had a PSP. What else did I have? A Game Boy Advance SP. What else did I have growing up? The Nintendo Wii, Nintendo 64. Yeah, let's go back in that time frame, right? So, anyways, I'm trying to think. All right, so yeah, Madden, NFL 07, and The Sims 2. So let's just sit down and think about them two video games real quick. So Madden NFL 07. I remember getting that game. Didn't really know too much about football, but I learned though. I was learning positions. I was learning plays. I was learning so much about football off of a video game. That's how you know when a video game is good, when you're learning stuff off of it. I'm trying to think. So if it came out in 2000, or if it said Madden NFL 07 and it came out in 2006, I was 10 years old. So I guess like to an extent you kind of somewhat know what football is at that age. Like you just my thing is this with me it was like all right, as long as my team gets to that other end of the football field and everybody get to celebrating, then that's how I know something good just happened. All right, that was my knowledge on football back then. But yeah, now I know plays, now I know positions, now I know when just overall like just more about the fundamentals of football and stuff. But I feel like with Madden today, when you look at Madden back then and Madden today, it just seemed like Madden today is more of a cash grab. Like, how can we make more money on top of the money that we already made with this game? And then eventually get to a point where we're like on some, what's that? Not, is it stockbrokers? Like where it's like that, like what is it? Like sell low, buy high or whatever. Whatever them guys was doing in that movie, trading places. But overall, it's like, I feel like that's the added, it's like, I don't know, it's like sell low, buy high or something. I don't know. But overall, it's like it's some shady stuff going on with gaming, where it's like they have it set up where you put all this money into Madden, and then they have it set up where it's like, oh, right before the next Madden comes out, let's have it where the game is like $4.99. So I'm like, all right, so is it a $69.99 dollar video game, or is it a $4.99 video game, or is it a free video game when you put it on your guys' subscription service? Because you would think that EA would just have, and that's the part that trips me out. So overall, I guess to those that don't really, you know what? No, let's just go to, I'm trying to think, like, well, I mean, yeah, Netflix. I mean, but it's still the same. Like, I don't know how else I could describe this, because I'm like, this is new to me, where you have different. Because all right, so you know what? No, when you look at, I think PlayStation Plus is really the only ones that do this. But I feel like when you're comparing Xbox Game Pass to EA Play, I'm like, Xbox Game Pass, they have it when you're subscribed to Xbox Game Pass, you can play whatever games that they got on their service. So that goes for Forza, that goes for Halo, that goes for I'm trying to think of some other like exclusives, Fallout, Gears of War. I'm trying to think of some other, I guess like Call of Duty now. But yeah, that's how they have it set up. They don't have it where it's like, oh, if you're subscribed to Ultimate, then you get to play Call of Duty. If you're subscribed to Premium, then you get to play the last year's Call of Duty. And if you're subscribed to the lower tier, you get to just watch trailers a day early on Call of Duty. That's how EA got pretty much their stuff set up, where it's like you gotta be subscribed to a high service. And no, that's the crazy thing about it. I think it's even, you guys subscribe to a high service even to play The Sims 2, which came out. Now, if this game came out when I was a kid, then that should overall tell you guys how old that game is. But anyways, now let me check EA Play real quick, because I think that's how they got it set up. But yeah, they got EA Play, and then they got EA Play Pro. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why not just have it where it's just all together? It's just EA Play. There ain't no such thing as no Pro or no... Yeah, they do have it set up where you have to play The Sims 1 and 2 through the EA Play Pro membership. And I'm thinking to myself, like, fam, I shouldn't have to... If I'm already subscribed to your guys' that's like if Netflix was like, oh, if you want to... I mean, I guess they do have like their little ad service thing, but I'm like, I would rather sit down. And I just remember when EA, it was a conversation where they wanted to add ads to their video games. I'm like, that would have not worked out. I'm gonna talk on that, but I want to compare this to Netflix. That's like Netflix saying, oh, you guys subscribe to our higher tier to watch Stranger Things, or to watch what are some other like Netflix exclusives. But yeah, overall, there's like, they got them really good ones where it's like, or no, they have it where it's like, if it wasn't a good TV show, yeah, then they would have had it on the lower tier Netflix. But all of a sudden, it just gets this worldwide media coverage, and now they want to all of a sudden add it to the higher tier. Does that make any sense? It doesn't. It really doesn't. But yeah, anyways, I just, I think at times where I'm like with EA, I'm like, you guys just don't make sense when it comes down to how you go about releasing a video game. When you look back on your guys' video games like 10, 20, not even 10 years ago, like probably like 20 something years ago, it's like, I look at where even just, no, talking on that, where it's like with Madden, it's like, they didn't have it set up where you have to buy, at least I don't remember it set up that way, where it had like Ultimate Team and you had to buy all these different packs to get the best characters. They didn't have like no in-game store and stuff. They had it, my thing is this, you played the game and you have fun. There wasn't no such thing as, oh, you gotta buy this, you gotta buy that, that wasn't a thing back then. So I see where, that's somewhat, well, I don't know, people probably don't even really be, probably some people that still buy packs, but overall it's not like major like how it was back years ago with FIFA and Sidemen and stuff, because I remember watching KSI's videos where he be doing pack openings, spending thousands of dollars on a pack or like on multiple packs, and I'm like, I couldn't do it, man. It's just something where I'm like, but that's not what video games should have been, and it trips me out where it's like, and then no, then that's the one thing where they had released the one video game, Dragon Age the Veilguard, and that was a normal game, but it's like, it seems like that they don't even care for that game. Like, they ain't doing no promotions to it. I remember when I very first got into that game, I didn't know nothing about it, and I'm like, bruh, this game is good. Why are they not promoting it? Why are they promoting? They promote it. I feel like the month of Dragon Age the Veilguard, when it came out, I feel like they had to have been promoting like Apex and other games more than they did that game, because I feel like that was one of those games where it's like, oh, we mistakenly made a game good, so let's overall just give it no promotion, and just have it where it's just $59.99 or $69.99 depending on what platform, or what platform you buy it on, but we're gonna have it set up where we just don't give this game any promotion. I'm like, that's weird. But anyways, no, that's why I forgot to talk on that, where I overall forgot it, and now I'm like, then it came back to my mind and stuff. But no, yeah, let's talk about how they were talking. I don't know, maybe they were talking about it, maybe they wasn't talking about it. If they were talking about it, I'm like, if you guys ever do decide to add ads into your guys' video games, that's gonna be the end of EA. Now, just sit down and picture this, right? Just sit down and picture this. You're playing Apex Legends, right? You're playing, and I guess for those that don't really know what Apex Legends is, it's a battle royale game. It's a free-for-all, everybody against everybody, for those that don't know. But overall, you have a good shot on this person. The person ran like on the side of you, but they didn't see you. They just ran like right into your peripheral vision, right? And you have a dead-on aim on them. You're like, fam, I'm going to win this game. Like, this is going to be my first time ever in life winning an Apex Legends game. Right when you get ready to squeeze that right trigger on your either Xbox, PlayStation, or click the left mouse button on your mouse, like milliseconds away from ending this person's Apex Legends existence, and all of a sudden the Love Sack couch commercial done came on. And then it gets back into the game and your character done died and you done play second. I guarantee and I promise you that will be the end of EA. I would never play an EA, because that's something I always say, like when I'm playing an EA game and I get mad, I say I'm never going to play an EA game. That right there would be enough to be like, no, I'm boycotting EA. I'm never going to play EA games again. I'm like, the day when I have my own household and I have kids, it's going to be the same business with them. I'm like, you guys can play whatever games you want to play. All right, even Grand Theft Auto 8, most likely, if or when that game decides, if a Grand Theft Auto 8, cause I'm gonna be an old person when 7 comes out, because I'm like, if it took this long for 6 to come out, I already know it's gonna be the same business with 7 and 8. But yeah, let's just say, that day comes, I have kids, I'm like, they're not gonna be able to play EA games in my house. When they have kids, grandkids, they come over and they were like, oh, granddad, I heard you got like a whole arsenal of video games. I'm like, I do. And they was like, can I play Madden, NFL 2070? I don't know, I'm trying to think, 77 maybe. I'm like, it's still gonna be the same business when I'm a grandfather. No EA games will be allowed in this household. I'm like, are they still playing ads in their video games? They're like, oh yeah, that's a new normal now. I'm like, how was it? The thing is this. If there's ever a day where I'm sitting down with somebody and they're wanting to know like how EA games were back then because they're confused by how it is right now, or they heard rumors about how it used to be back in the day, I'm like, man, it's something where I'm like, I'm definitely gonna feel old, but at the same time, I'm like, man, they done brainwashed you guys into thinking that what they're doing now is normal, and what they did back then, it was like, so my question is like, what's wrong with what you guys was doing back then? And I guarantee and I promise you, the thing is this, they gonna say all these different things, but it was about one thing and one thing only: the money. they wasn't making enough money back then. So they're all like, so they're looking at it like this: how can we make money now? Let's put Dragon Age the Veilguard on EA Play Pro. I didn't even know that until actually seeing it and stuff. But then yeah, let's put it everywhere else. Have it where the game's like it's gonna barely be on sale. I guess if because I liked it, I thought it was good. But anyways, I need to beat that game though. I was like, I did take a break from playing that game because I was playing it almost every day. I was like, wow, that was like the one time where EA Games released a game and it was actually decent. You know, I'm like, trips me out when they do that. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, a good game? I'm like, nah, there has to be something fishy or wrong with this. I'm like, there ain't nothing fishy or wrong with this. It's just overall a good game. I'm like, yeah, they mistakenly did that. I don't think Dragon Age the Veilguard was supposed to come out. That was probably something where it's like it was a game that leaked out and they couldn't have any, they didn't have nothing to, you know, to I guess to fight it and stuff. They just had to accept the game being leaked out. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably EA's like in the recent years, their only good game. But I'm like, my thing is this: when I'm looking even back like some years ago, I remember the last time I had paid money for a Madden game, and I'm just talking on like any, you know, because when you look at it back then and then look at it now, it's like that stuff like that. I know I would used to say that back then, where it was like their games were rigged and stuff, and I'd still feel that way. I'm like, I still feel like EA, they've always been kind of a shady company, but I'm like, I think that was more so like during the Xbox 360 era. I feel like once when they started having a little bit more control over their video games after they released, yeah, I feel like, yeah, they're definitely rigged. Because I'm like, I'm trying to think, not no PlayStation 2 games. I mean, I might have had my struggles and my issues with their games and stuff, but overall, I'm like, it's not as bad as it is now. Like I was saying, I remember back in 2019, and that's why I had never, after this, I never bought another Madden video game again. But so anyways, I'm playing it, right? There's all these different glitches and bugs that's going on throughout the game, but I was still winning the football games. So overall, they have it where for some odd reason I don't make it to the Super Bowl. Or yeah, I ended up losing in the playoffs and then not being able to make it into the Super Bowl. All right, cool, whatever. I made it into the Pro Bowl. Okay, cool, I'll play that. They have it where I get all the way right there, right? I'm literally a yard away from the end zone. So I'm like, because I think that was the one Madden where they had it set up where you couldn't play like other positions. You only could play as the quarterback, I guess, for like the campaign or story mode, whatever. But anyways, they had it where I'm playing as the quarterback. I'm a yard away. I'm like, I can easily run this ball in. And I knew I could. I was like, yeah, I did with what Russell Wilson should have did years ago back when we were in the Super Bowl. Just run the ball in, you know, or pass it to Marshawn. But I was like, you know what? I figure I'm like, let me save my running back to work. Let me just run in. I feel like that there's an opening that's going to open up and I'm going to be able to just score this touchdown, right? So anyways, I yell, my player yells out, hike. It pretty much like it was like some like freaking like the Moses like sea or something. Like everybody just split. I run in, I score the touchdown. Guess what happens? Out of all the things that could have happened to me, I'm like, there's so many different things, right? So many different things that could have happened to me. The game crashes, sends me back to the Xbox main menu. I had to start that Pro Bowl all over again. And then they had it where I was set up to lose. That's what I mean by a video game being rigged. When I win the Pro Bowl, and I guarantee and I promise you if I had lost, it wouldn't have not done no frozen stuff because I'm like, okay, I lost the playoff game, you didn't freeze. I win the Pro Bowl game, you all of a sudden freeze. You ain't frozen all the other games that I played, you all of a sudden freeze now. And I'm like, yeah, it's things like that. Even when playing the UFC games, having it where it's like every time I throw a punch, the player throws a punch at the same time. I'm like, is this that mimic mode in Tekken 8? I'm saying like, yeah, at times I truly do believe though, when it comes down to EA games, they don't pay attention to the games that they're making. You know, it's like and that's why I think like with this next Battlefield game that they're coming out with, they're trying to get the crowd or the audience involved. And I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. Because I feel like even with the audience involved, EA is still going to have the last say so. And most likely when the next Battlefield game comes out, it's probably not going to be a solid video game. So for any other EA DLC video game remastered, whether, if it's a new game, whatever the situation may be, whatever EA is being behind or releasing, do not get your hopes high. Unless it's like, they're saying, oh, we're remastering Need for Speed, the original Need for Speed Most Wanted in the Underground series. Then that might be worth a little bit of excitement. But I feel like that if that was the case, something shady is going to happen with that releasing. They're not gonna release it and just let it be that. No, they're gonna release it and it's gonna cost us. So that's why I'm like, yeah, bruh. It's at times I'm like, you know what, with EA Games, if that's, one day if they just said like we're shutting down as a company, I know people will probably be all like, oh, TMossBoss, he's gonna celebrate, he gonna throw a party, he gonna do this, he gonna do that. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm all like, hey, I warned them numerous times. It's like, you guys cannot release video games and then it not being good and then just thinking that the fans is going to be cool with it. Then you release a game that is good, but then it's like the fans, they're not like paying attention to it. You can't do stuff like that. Like, promote the games that are good and then don't promote the games, or no, work on the games that are not good. So, it's just something where I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I still stand by that. There is going to be a day I feel like they're going to do something to upset a lot of people. If not, it's going to probably be a thing where they upset one person and a lot of people are going to be talking about it. And it is going to be one of those things where EA, they are going to have to answer for it and stuff. It can't just be let's go and release some stuff for Need for Speed Unbound to make it seem like we're doing some Need for Speed Underground or Most Wanted stuff. And you guys ain't did nothing. It's like, what? All you did was add one more street light and one more tree out in the middle of some grass. Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, bro. It's just with EA Games. I'm like, yeah, you guys got some issues going on that you need to work on. But anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service. And peace.